Okay, welcome everyone. Lovely to see you. So if we can just rest as presence. To be not knowing. Notice the breath. Invite the mind to rest by simply allowing your experience to be whatever it is. Without giving it any direction. Presence is effortless. And it doesn't matter what appears to you. Because whatever appears to you doesn't affect you in any way. Except if you choose for it to affect you. Because you are the totality. You are not a particular entity except if you choose yourself to be a particular entity. Because reality is the infinite, invisible presence. The freedom of being, undefined. You're not a body mind, you're not a female or a male form. You are this effortless, aware presence. Which is your reality. And whenever you leave it to become somebody that exists in time and space, it is out of your freedom that you are doing so. Because you are not a victim of the universe. You are the universe itself, universing. You are the consciousness, the reality. Of whatever appears to you. Irrespective of whether anything appears to you or not. That does not matter. Relationship is an expression of love. It is not a place where you maneuver your way to get somewhere or to get something. Like the sunshine shines onto the universe without any personal intention. It is simply the nature of the sun to shine. Like it is the nature of the surface of the pond to reflect the sunshine or the moonlight. Similarly, in this dream of wakefulness and what we call life, relationship is a place where we manifest and express the love. And it's a place, an opportunity where we can learn about ourselves, about how we sometimes resist, sometimes we argue. On behalf of whom? We argue on behalf of the imaginary me, which has no reality outside of your belief in it. And of what good is your belief in this imaginary me, which leads you to argumentation, worry, and concern. Is it possible to live in relationship without a personal agenda? Without defending our point of view, which traps us and limits us? Is it possible to listen? Listen without judgment, without defending ourselves, without attacking. Because the other is your very self. There is no other outside of the intimacy of relationship. And in the intimacy of relationship, the other is your very self. Sometimes in relationship, we use the other as a punching bag. Dump our frustrations, onto the other, which comes right back onto us. While it is available to us to be open, to understand something about ourselves, about truth in relationship, to understand something about love, about freedom, about pain, about sorrow, about hurt, the sense of loss. Oftentimes we use the other in relationship. We use them to make us happy. We expect them to behave in certain ways. We place conditions. We're unaware how painful it is for both, for everyone involved. And yet we are so happy when there is an expression of love and kindness towards us. We love that. It touches our heart. Can we also do the same? Can we also be a conduit? Express the love that we love to receive, to express it. To relax our conditions, relax our expectations, to trust the love and the expression of love and kindness in the moment, in this moment. Not to be so preoccupied with our agendas, not to be so judgmental. Because we don't know what the other one is experiencing, what they're perceiving, what they're sensing. We don't know. There is vulnerability in love. It's soft. It's available to experience whatever the universe is presenting. You know, the entire non-dual teaching can be summed up in the word love. Because love is truth, and truth is beauty, is freedom. All the divine principles are present in love. And love is not personal, it's universal. When we are that universal love, when you assume yourself to be a separate person, a limited personal self, the mind is deeply confused. We are not going anywhere as body minds. It's not about the future, but about living each moment, this moment, and every moment out of love and kindness and intelligence and wisdom. Whichever way we can. But to be interested in the expression of kindness and love, impersonal expression. To explore that direction. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, make sure you unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand if you'd like. So any questions? Hello, Ves.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello.
Magdi, the relationship from the view of non-dual, does it mean that we need the other to explore relationship? And who is the other?
We explore, we investigate the belief in separation because we have an interest in truth, an interest in understanding. So it's you could say, like an inner calling to find the path, the direct path to peace and happiness. Somehow we have an inkling, we have an insight that the belief in being a separate self, the belief that consciousness is personal, that it exists in time and space, somehow we have an inkling that that's the wrong direction. So we investigate this belief. And as a result of our love for truth and our interest, we find that there is an effect in our surrounding, in our relationship, in our life. It changes us. And there are more and more doubts about the belief that I'm a man, I'm a person. It affects how we live, how we speak, how we interact. It affects our perception and our behavior. And in ways that we don't really know, there is an effect. In effect, in relationship, at work, the way we speak, the way we listen. Now, when you say who is the other, we only know the other via our own mind. We don't have access to another outside of our own mind. So in a way, the other is how we perceive the other. So it's a perception. And it's an interaction. There is an interaction that even in the interaction, we're experiencing our own inner perception. Now, when we are open to the possibility that the other is my very self, it's not different from myself, it makes a big difference of how we interact. Because we don't want to hurt ourselves. We care about the other as we care about ourselves. So there is an understanding that the other is not apart from myself. Even an image of another, this image appears to me within my own space, within my own mind, within consciousness. So my interaction with the other is a very intimate interaction. It's in a way an interaction of myself with myself. So, do I need the other to contemplate truth? Well, if the other is my very self, isn't it sufficient to have that understanding and to pursue your interest with the understanding that the other is your very self? Not that the other is somebody else that you need to convert or convince or influence. No. Because you're already doing that via your own investigation, your own love, your own passion, your own dedication. You're already touching the other who is not separate from your very self. Sometimes, or maybe too often, we make an image of the other as being, as having this separate reality from myself. We imagine we project images of somebody, that we create that. Because our experience is very intimate. In my experience, our experience of each other is very intimate. And it's direct. It's not lacking anything, it's direct. And it's complete in that moment. But then there is a habit of projecting a separate somebody. And then we impose all sorts of conditions upon that, what we projected. And we have expectations from our own projection. It's an inner hypnosis in a way, like having alter, like having multiple personalities. Yeah, you create others And you don't recognize that it's the same consciousness. So the understanding about consciousness is very important, because when we say the other, what do we mean? Do we mean a different body, a different... All bodies are different. Even this so-called same body, when it was 12-year-old, it was very different from what it is now. So all the bodies are different. But is the other the body? Is that what we mean? Or is the other thoughts? Or is the other consciousness? What is the reality of the other? It's an interesting question, which is similar to what is my reality. Because if we are relating with another, it's better to be relating with the reality of the other rather than with what we imagine. It's better to have a reality-to-reality relationship. It makes sense, doesn't it? So my reality is not different from your reality. So what is the relationship between two realities? The relationship between two realities is one reality, yeah. Which is love. One reality means love. One means intimacy, means oneness, means nothing missing. We don't put conditions. The reality doesn't put a condition on itself, right? It's not going to say, oh, well, I want to change my reality. I want my reality to be different or to act differently. No. So there are no expectations in reality. There are no expectations. There's just love. So we keep returning to our understanding that the other is my very self. My very self as consciousness. And we don't place any conditions. The diversity of creativity, the diversity of creation it is infinite. we're like children in the playground, A joyful play. So we can play joyfully. Innocently. Not trying to get ahead, So to be open to not knowing, meaning that to understand that deep down we don't know. There's so much we don't know. She's perfect. So it's discovery moment by moment. To be available to be surprised. We become more and more childlike, more and more like childlike. Not childish, but childlike. The how children they laugh at the smallest thing, They could watch a leaf blowing in the wind and it makes them laugh and giggle. But children, they're free. They're free from preoccupation. They're not living in worry about the future, regrets about the past. No, that's and there is the understanding about what I am, that I am not anything which is perceived. I am not an object that I perceive. I am that which perceives. This invisible presence, the reality which perceives in this moment. It's truly our experience. That's what we are. This formless reality. which is aware. So aware. Knows that it is. I know I am. Whatever this I is, doesn't matter. Because it cannot be known by the mind. Because the mind is objective. And reality is subjective. It knows itself subjectively. This is the first person knowingness. Okay, Wes? Any questions? Yes, Wes, you're muted. Oh, here you are. Okay.
There is no question, if I may add. For me, the other, I create the concept of the other in order to reflect of my expressing the reality of love in the dual world. Like, for example, I cannot see my nose. I need a mirror to see my nose.
Yes, sure. Yes, it's a beautiful way of putting it, sure. And the I that creates the other in order to celebrate love and express love is the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I am not separate from the universe. I am that universe. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Any questions?
Can I add? So what you beautifully said, that if there is no anchor in the concept of outside other, I utilize the whole population of others in my mind, effectively again to express my, as you said, celebration of the universe, because my mind cannot tell if this is physical other or the concept of the other or the thought of the other in my mind.
Every other is the same I that I am. And in this aspect of creation, which is this human experience, which is a minute, infinitesimal aspect of creation, which is infinite. There is the display of a human tribe, and rubbing elbows and huddling together to keep themselves warm from the cold and to protect themselves against the elements. And this is part of creativity, the creativity of consciousness. And the others appear to us not only as our very self, but they also appear to us as separate selves in ignorance. And we experience a lot of pain and sorrow in relationship with others, disappointments and lots of hurt. And this leads us in time to the inquiry and the contemplation and the investigation of the root cause of suffering and the root cause of sorrow. So there is that aspect too, in relationships with others, the sense of separation that we experience, which eventually leads us home. And as we are on our way home, we realize that perceiving the other as separate from myself was a wrong model. And we experience more and more the other as my very self. Then the joy and the celebration, the love and the beauty manifest in our relationships. So yeah, there is the sort of creating the others as separate, and then back to the other is my very self. It's a very well put together game. The game of life. So get indoctrinated initially with the belief that I am separate, and then via the understanding, order is restored. Any questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, but I am tempted to say it. You know, in my profession, medical profession, there is this phenomena of separating, creating ourselves, which is different from the other who is sick or who is handicapped. You know, it is shown in social science that the biggest gap, social gap, is not between black and white or poor or wealthy. It is between sick and healthy.
Mm.
And this is gap of kind of self-protection that if I see handicap, I create myself, which is different from handicap because I'm scared.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the identification with the body, you know, and
Right.
body, handicapped body, beautiful body, etc. It's all the wrong identification. Yeah. You know, there's nothing that happens by chance, you know. Everything is meant to be how it appears to you, what happened to your body, your mind. It's all just perfect. Even your suffering is perfect. Your depression, your sadness, sense of loss, it's all perfect. Everything is in the right order, right? Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Uh, Howdy.
Yes.
Oh, I don't somehow a sort of a question popped up a minute ago, and then I can't formulate it at the moment. But the area is so the experience of this body mind in thinking of others. I guess the best word I can come up with is that there seems to be a very wide range of, dozens of different kinds of relationships, dozens of different kinds of people. And I'm trying to get clearer about that, because it seems like it'd be very helpful towards freedom.
Mm.
If I already got something you can work with, or I guess it doesn't feel necessarily painful, but of course, if I'm separating myself, if I'm identifying as a separate individual body mind, then that's of course has its painful aspects. But even if I'm not, even if that identity seems to be able to let go of that and more broadly experience, I guess, what we're calling others. There's all these different, I guess maybe that's just the creative colors of God that just shows so many different facets. But some of these facets are, not healthy for this body mind to be around, and some of them are, and some of them are wonderful. I'm saying it's just a wide range of. So I guess part of that is, or maybe all of that is what this body mind is creating. Well, no, I don't know how to say it. So how is that? I guess I'm trying to get to how is that? How did we do that, or how did that happen? That so many different.
Yeah. I mean, there are differences at the body-mind level, but no differences at the reality of body-mind. So in the realm of relationships, there are different types of personalities. People have different tendencies, different habits, body-mind habits. There are people who like to party, people who like to gossip, people who don't, people who like classical music, others who like rock and roll. There are some people who are very generous and others who are takers. People are grateful and others who are not that grateful. There are some bully personalities. There are some very loving, gentle characters. It's a mix. Like among
is there some kind of, I'm sorry, is there some kind of, maybe I'm looking for the universal solvent or something, like.
Yeah, the universal solvent is you. Your discernment, your inner your knowingness about what is the wise thing to do? What is the wise relationship to involve yourself in, to open yourself to, and to how much and when not to? You have your inner wisdom, your inner voice, your inner discernment. And you have the understanding about love, kindness, fairness, gratitude, friendship. So you follow the path when you're out on the trail. There is a path that's very rocky and boulderous, and you have a young, very athletic body, so you may love that, to take the path that's where you climb boulders and you more challenging path. But you may not. You may have a different temperament, a different. You want to enjoy pleasant walk. You want to enjoy staying by the stream, listening to the sound of the stream as you're hiking. So you listen, within yourself at what speaks to you, but that's still at the relative level. Deep down in your heart, you know that all is love, and everybody, no matter where they're at, they're not choosing to be a bully. They're not choosing their thoughts. That's an important understanding about yourself, that you don't choose your thoughts. What applies to you applies to the other. You don't choose to think that particular thought and to make this particular decision, which the decision is as a result, it follows your thinking. Because you don't choose your thinking, then you don't choose your action. So you have to understand that about everybody, not just about yourself. But irrespective of that, although that's very clear, you will not choose to go in a direction, a path that is muddy or a path that is torturous. So it's that inner discernment. And you can make mistakes, and when you realize you made the mistake, you make the change that's possible to you at that time. It's not about perfection. There's no human mind that is perfect. Nobody has a crystal ball, or we get sometimes deluded by initial impression. Sometimes we have initial impression, later on I'm sorry I said yes. So we take corrective action, but the main thing is not to dishonor your inner voice, not to give in to fear, not to give in to fear. Not to try to be a good guy, No, that's just to be yourself. Be how you perceive things at the moment. And your understanding about consciousness has its own effect. You will find it's not possible for you to harm somebody else or to deceive somebody else knowingly. You may do that unknowingly, and it may happen, but knowingly you will not do that, because it's just won't be part of what arises for you. So you can listen to your inner voice, and when you have doubts, you take your time and you explore. Wait a minute, let me take a closer look and see. Is this a direction I want to go? Is this a relationship that I want to follow? Is that, if I'm not sure, maybe take more time. Maybe take my time with it. So the universal solvent is consciousness. You. It's nothing outside of you.
It's very helpful. I was also, it was just they when I view there's just so many different facets, and it's not a troublesome thing. I just was trying to see a little bit more clearly, and you are helping me to see it a little more clearly, and what this body mind's role is, or better yet, you know, to drop the body mind and just try to be in non-dual consciousness somehow.
I mean, the body mind is an instrument of consciousness. Consciousness is not the instrument of the body mind. Right? So the body mind is illumined by consciousness, by understanding about the universality of consciousness, the reality and the universality of consciousness, and the non-phenomenal reality of consciousness. The mind doesn't understand. It is consciousness that understands, and the understanding comes onto the mind. It permeates the mind, but it's consciousness that understands. The mind is blessed, is graced via the understanding from consciousness.
Is what from the understanding?
Is graced.
I didn't catch that.
The body mind is graced, is blessed, is illumined by graced.
Blessed. Okay. Yes.
Is graced by the understanding which comes from consciousness. It's not the body mind that understands, you see. The body mind is an instrument within the hands of God, or within the hand of ignorance. When God chooses to play the game of ignorance. But sometimes we realize we've been there, done that, you know what I mean? So, and we say, that's good enough. I've earned all those medals.
300 or 400 times.
I've got all the scars, you know, to attest to. I've earned every scar. Good enough.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
All right.
Helpful, Magdi.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you all. Lovely to be with you. Frank, Wes, Mark, hey George. Hello, Marga. John, Olga, Anastasia. Hello, Anastasia. Hi, Mo. See you. Salut, Shiva. Hello, Holly. And Tarika. Thank you all.